says we're recording. Does that mean we are? I don't know, because I don't know anything about the internet.
Well,
But welcome.
Let's hope it's actually doing what it says, you know.
You know, if it's not, then it's also perfect because everything is always working out for me.
That is true. Nothing happens to you, everything happens through you.
There you
So,
go. So, Gerald, I think that you should start us off by explaining how we met in the first place, and then we can tell people why they're watching this video.
you know, I almost think that this should almost be like a Facebook Live. I'm scared. I'm almost ready to hit the Facebook button.
If you
Just
do, I
because,
won't be mad. I don't mind it.
it's the magic Jumbonian chip chat, right? How did we meet? And it's so strange. You know, there are some people that you meet and you're just like, okay, I was meant to meet that person. And when you try to explain how the bond was forged, you can never quite get there.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, I just remember walking into a Carrabba's one day to a networking event, and we're sitting down, and you know, the hosts, who are both our friends, are just talking all about this wonderful dynamic woman that just came into the group that does this hypnotherapy, and it's phenomenal. And I'm like, okay, where is she? Where is she? And then
Where is this mythical creature?
where is this magical unicorn that they are talking about?
Like, you're like, hold up. A girl was at the networking event? Let's stop right there. That's rare. That's a unicorn in and of itself.
Yes. And then Rose stood up and introduced herself. And, you know, I'm the shy guy with a big mouth, so I'm just sitting in the back. I'm chilling out. I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to her. And after the meeting, we proceeded to go over to the bar area where I'm sitting down talking to one of the hosts. And Rose happens to come over, and I was like, hey, I need to talk to you. And he says, yes, both of you all do that talk stuff. You do that talk. And I was like, talk stuff? I was like, well, I don't do hypnotherapy. I said, but I do NLP. And she was like, yes, I do the hypnotherapy. And we just started talking. And from there, we realized, and he came up with the word magic mumbo jumbo. And we were like, oh, no, well, that's our own planet. Because people that use language patterns, I truly do believe, are a different breed. I don't know if you agree with that, Rose, but it's just a very unique place because people get scared for you to talk to them. They say they want to talk to you, but then they say, no, I can't talk to you. You're going to use your words. Well, how else can I talk to you if I don't use words? As if we weaponize the words. So hence where magic mumbo jumbonians were born.
And here we are going strong. Still magic. Still mumbo jumbo, but we embrace it. We embrace the magic mumbo jumbo. So your problem is people are afraid to talk to you because they're like, you might use your words. My problem is people are afraid to talk to me because they're like, if I'm hypnotized, what might I say to you? To which I say, you know, hopefully nothing, because you're supposed to be in hypnosis and you're not supposed to be talking. So hopefully you won't say anything at all, much less tell me your deep and darkest secrets. So you're safe with me. You're just going to listen. You listen. I talk. You listen. You talk.
And that's the perfect part. Now, I would say my first question is, a lot of people hear that word hypnotherapy. Can you kind of break that down for people, like what hypnotherapy is, and break down that scared, like you're not swinging a watch in front of people,
I mean,
and saying, aren't you getting sleepy?
I can if you want me to. The beauty of, hypnosis. Let's start right there. Everybody thinks that it's this mysterious thing, and I got, I don't even have a pocket watch here. Sadly, I actually want to get one. It's so like, but here I'm going to wave my magic wand and you're getting sleepy and I'm going to control your mind. And it's none of these things, because It's actually a very natural state to be in. As a matter of fact, everyone goes in and out of hypnosis, whether they know it or not, every day. So if you've ever fallen asleep at night or woken up in the morning, which most of us have that are still alive, that's a light hypnotic state. My favorite example is, have you ever driven somewhere that you're very familiar with going, like home from work or to work, and you don't remember the drive once you get there, right? You're like, oh, I'm here. How did I get there? Well, your subconscious mind got you there. The rest of you are zoned out thinking about whatever else you're thinking about. You're overstimulated by the environment. So you're doing it by mistake. With hypnotherapy, we use that hypnotic state to get you into that relaxed place so that you have less of a barrier between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. So your unconscious mind is very powerful, it's very fast, it's the original brain, but it's not creative. So it's just like a tape recorder. It's just feeding you back everything you learn from about birth to age 8. So it's like, here's what matches my experience thus far. So I always say, if you're not doing work with your unconscious mind, then you're basically asking a kindergartner to live your life for you. So you're
Now that's a heck of an equivalent there.
right. So you go into a class of kindergartners and you're like, hey guys, what's that? Like, should I do this interview with Gerald, or should I maybe just, spend half an hour in the massage chair? The kindergartner might say, oh, I think I'll spend half an hour in the massage chair. Thanks, because the other thing sounds like work. We don't like
Yes.
that when we're 5. And and thus you're living your life kind of accidentally. So I always say, you happen to your day, don't let your day happen to you. So
Yes.
taking those conscious goals, your creative thoughts, and taking away the resist. I mean, how long did it take us to put this together? Like, to actually sit down. I mean, I think from practically the day we met, we're like, let's do something together, right? We have complementary interests and modalities, and we play in the same playground, let's say, even if we're not
Yes.
doing the exact same things. But still, there's that, like, oh, well, maybe no one will watch it, or maybe nobody cares, or maybe it won't be good, or maybe, we don't have
Well, I don't
time.
care if they don't like it. I love my Rose, and I will talk to Rose anywhere. So
We don't care. We don't
so
care who else watches it. We're having fun.
you know,
But
but like you said, I think we want people to get a benefit from any activity that you do, essentially. That when we do stuff, especially since that's part of our work, is helping people be more intentional with their time, with their thoughts, and being conscious of the decisions that they're making instead of just defaulting to autopilot all the time and like, well, this is what I've always done. Well, that's why you are where you are. I
yep.
thought you want to be somewhere different. So, just the ability to go ahead and just say, you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. And one thing that I've personally found, especially in my work, and I'm sure you have too, is that perfection scares the heck out of people anyway. Because if people see perfection, they have to beat it up because they don't see it in their own life enough. They're like, wait, no, this is too perfect. What's going on? It makes them question how genuine something is. People respect persistence way more than they respect perfection, because we've all had to go through stuff. We've all had challenges that we've had to overcome. And that's why I think the stories that we tell ourselves become so impactful, is because we're persistent in that story of this is true and this is what makes me me.
Right.
And you're right, but you're wrong at the same time, because the story you're remembering may not quite be true. And that's especially where your work comes in, and you help them break apart and start to create their narrative rather than live a perhaps not so good narrative that they have going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, we all have that, right? It's like, I was joking around with a client earlier today, and I forget now why, but I was, using a story for examples. And I said, I'm a middle child. So of course I always joke and say I have middle child syndrome because a middle child, you want everyone to get along, right? That's your role. Now it's doubly humorous because like psychologically speaking, I don't qualify as a middle child because there's a big age gap between me and my older sister. But that's my role. I have the big sister and I have the younger brother, and now I'm the middle child, and now I want to help people and I want everyone to get along, and that is a nice comfortable box to stay in, and stay in that box and be like, oh well, I have middle child syndrome. What are you going to do? Like, I'm a people pleaser. What are you going to do? And those kind of beliefs become, like you said, that's part of my story that I tell myself, and I tell myself every day, and I use those stories for my justification for why I couldn't or shouldn't have things that I want to have, or what have you. Right? I mean, pick your poison. There's a never-ending list of the things that we tell ourselves about events in our lives or our personality or whatever. And reframing those, because you can tell yourself a new story. I mean, you wrote the story. you can change it.
Yes.
I did it to my client today. I said, if this was a magic wand, and you could leave this session today and have what you want, what would it be like? And she's like, well, I'm like, no, it's easy. You have a magic wand. Whatever you say is gonna come true. What is it? Boom, there it is. Like, there's the answer. Because when we think we have a magic wand.
Yes, it's amazing. And here's the thing that I want to put out there to people just so that they can understand. 90% of your memories are at least 85% false. The moment you think you remember something, you'll remember getting in the wrong context, the colors. It's amazing when they do studies on memory, the things you remember are not exactly the way that you remember them. So even your memories are stories that you literally have made up.
Which is why they don't use eyewitness accounts, right?
Exactly. And it was a great show that used to come on, and I think it's coming back, called Brain Games. And I used to love that show. And they had people unwittingly witness what they thought was a crime, right? So it was they just ran up, guy snatched this woman's purse, and it's a group of people around, about 15. And the guy snatches the purse. She's like, get off me, get off of me. And he snatches the purse and runs, and they watch him. And a cop comes up immediately after and just gives them some general conversation first, like, hey, is everybody okay? Nobody is hurt, right? It's like, I just want to check with you guys to make sure everything's going okay. It was like, we understand there was a crime. A guy just ran off with a purse. And they were like, yes. Can you describe the man? None of the 15 people accurately described what the person had on, the colors, the height, anything. And he had literally, less than 5 minutes ago just happened.
Yeah, and we think we remember with accuracy, like the first day of first grade.
Yes, exactly. So if you can't remember 5 minutes, oh yeah, I remember when I was 5 in kindergarten or pre-K, and this kid, okay, yes, you may have had traumatic experiences. Now it's different when the trauma happens to you, I will say, because your brain is trained to protect you. So a trauma, your brain remembers in more vivid color, so to say, unless you shut it down, unless it's too traumatic, and then you want to shut it out. But most traumas, most pains, we remember rather vividly. Why? Because our brain is designed to protect us, not to help us be successful, everybody. Our brain, for the most part, is about survival, protect this body from harm. So it senses danger, and it's there to say, look out, watch this. So that's why when something bad happens, if anything comes up similar to that bad thing, your brain automatically recalls it. No, this means pain. Watch out. This could hurt. So with the work that you do, with the work that we do, a lot of times, like you talked about, we are helping people deal with traumas really between the ages of 8 to about 17. That's usually about the window, because most people's memories don't even go back to 5. They think they remember when they were 5.
Mm-hmm.
You don't remember when you're 5. I mean, some people do. There are some people that have that special ability, but usually that 8 to 7, that 9-year window, at least in my experience, I don't know about for you. I think that's the general range, though. That 8 to 17 is where we start to shape our modalities and our beliefs about the world. So how does your work, or in your work, how have you found helping people pinpoint those life-changing moments and move? How have you found the ability to help them pinpoint those life-changing moments, one, and number two, to help insert new narratives so that they can change the story and move forward and help change those beliefs? Well, this is sounding like an interview. We just chit-chatting, everybody. I want everybody, let me clarify what Gerald is doing. Gerald is not interviewing Rose, and Rose is not interviewing Gerald. This is the type of conversations we generally have, okay?
Yeah, this is just how we talk.
We usually have. So,
because we're dorks.
Yeah, I always say I'm an intelligent hoodlum. I'll tell people that. I'm an intelligent hoodlum. But
well, typically when people come to me, I mean, I think every networking group I've ever been in, there's at least one person who comes up to me and they say, like, I can't remember, when I was 8, it's gone. And I have all these, something must have happened, because why don't I remember being 8? And can you help me remember being 8? And I say, I prefer not, because let's just say, let's say something traumatic did happen. Your brain's trying to protect you right now. Put a nice little Band-Aid over that, right? Let's leave that lie. like what? I prefer not to just go on an exploratory mission in somebody's mind. There is such thing as eliciting false memories. That's why I cannot hypnotize someone who is supposed to be a witness in a court case, because if they found out you were hypnotized, no one believes in hypnosis till it comes down to that. Then it's like,
yes, exactly. Well. It's all hokey pokey. Oh, that's hocus pocus mess. And then, oh, I was hypnotized. Well, you can't testify. Wait, I thought it was hocus pocus.
Exactly. Exactly. But the reason is because, like the example you gave earlier, if you were a witness to an accident and then I hypnotize you, you have your belief about what happens, and now you're going back and you're like, oh, it was definitely, the guy in the blue shirt or whatever. And that may or may not be true, because you can have memories that are not necessarily your memory. It could be something you saw on TV. It could be something you dreamt in a dream. It could be something you witnessed from an older sibling. So typically when I'm working with clients, they're coming to me with an outer goal, and we go from the outside in. I mean, I don't typically go straight for did this possibly happen? But sometimes they do. They have a specific memory. A technique I use a lot is this the first and only time that this has happened? Or was there a time that you had a similar feeling? That is often way long in the past. If you try to remember the first time it happened, okay, well, and now you are most likely a little kid, right? Or a young person when that happened. So, I'm not always super interested in the specifics, because the specifics are vague usually, but
very murky.
I'm interested in, can we release the trapped emotions, and can we change that programming. So the clinic that I work at, the doctor who's here developed a technique called upgrading the brain. I am still learning it, but I use it a lot because it's basically going into your mind at the moment of that trauma, big T, little t, it doesn't matter, at the moment of that trauma and saying like, hold on, stop right there. And now let's upgrade with what you know now. Because at the time you didn't know it. And like you said, your brain kind of stops right there at that trauma. It's like, we're done. This is what happened. Happened literally this morning. I was driving to work and I guess I was in a little environmental hypnosis. I had a lot on my mind. I got that music playing and there I have to take 66 West to get to my office and they're moving the lanes. I mean, I should know this because I do drive here every day. But
and my God, is 66 the worst? Anyway.
Oh my God. So true. It's a whole nother topic. A whole nother session for the trauma of people who sit in 66. But I mean, the lane was just gone all of a sudden. And I almost rear-ended like one of those big, like humongous construction trucks that are on, because I was just like, oh God, like I slammed on the brakes and I was a little freaked out, right? Because I was like, I just almost got in a major accident going to work. Like I was shaking. And I was kind of trapped too on 66 because now like there's cars, I can't get back out from behind this lane that I'm not supposed to be in and all this stuff. That's the perfect example though of something that is a little t trauma where, you know, I easily could just be like, oh, well, it happened and move on. But that might later have effects if I just kind of forget it, if I don't process that emotion. So of course I use the rest of my, you know, I did not have that much time before my first client, but I had to quick upgrade my brain. I hope that Dr. Stefan won't sue me for using his trademarked material. I'm trained in it. I'll post his information in the comments. But you know, I did you know, have to give myself a little upgrade where it's kind of like, okay, that was scary, but now you know that you didn't crash into the back of the truck.
That is the key, because how many times do we know friends, family members, business associates that will talk all day about something that almost happened and they let it ruin sometimes their week? They will be saying, someone almost hit me this morning on the way to work. Or let's just use your example. Like you said, you almost hit a truck. Okay. There are several opportunities, because I always talk about the master P's. That's part of, you know, my NLP, but it's part of my coaching and training modality where I talk to people about I call them the two master P's of life: perception and perspective. I said, you know, they control everything around you, whether you want to accept it or not. Those two P's determine everything about your day, your life, all of it. So if you had, from your perspective, like you said, you owned it. You were like, hey, I almost hit the truck, right? And your perception was, wow, I was zoned out. Okay, got to get my stuff together. What's going on here? I was being consciously unconscious.
Yeah, right.
So
always
that's a powerful perspective to take, though, because that means you own the moment. Okay, so you can change the behavior and thought process that created that situation. Whereas, what if somebody said, oh my God, that truck slammed on brakes in front of me. That guy or person was trying to hurt me. I don't know what's going on. Oh my gosh, I was trapped. It was so terrible. Let me tell you, I felt like the world was about to come to an end. And you know what? It's been a lot of bad things happening to me lately. Ever since this, blah, blah, blah. And they will stack the meanings and stack stuff because it's usually never the one event. It's the things you throw on top of it that make you angry, upset, hurt, frustrated. It's not usually the one thing. It's other things that you stack on top. And I think in the work we do, and some of the great thing is that we help people unpack, okay, Can we just stop at this is what happened? This is the scenario.
Just stop right there.
Right. Right. Like okay, I get you arguing with your wife or your husband on the way to work. The kids weren't acting right. You know, you got to go to work. You got a project. You okay. That's not this situation. We're talking about this one situation, and that usually will calm people down. And I think that if more people take into account that, okay, what really did happen? Were you hurt? Did you have the accident? No. Okay. So let's be grateful there. let's start there. We have something to be thankful for.
Right.
A more powerful emotion than fear. Is gratefulness. So if you're grateful in that moment, that, oh my gosh, I'm still here. I'm okay. No one is hurt. And then we can start to change the narrative now, because now you have a different emotion, because the emotion is what creates intensity in situations and never just a situation. That was a long rant.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, it's very timely, because I might have posted a video about it on my Instagram. I don't remember, but I was talking about this just last week, I guess, because I was saying talk about the good things as much as, like, even half as much about as you bitch about the bad things, because typically when something bad happens, you're like, you go on, right? We rant, and then something good happens and you're like, yeah, I talked to Gerald, it was cool. Like, what? How come you don't talk about talking to Gerald and how cool it was and how fun it was for 20, 30, 40 minutes, but you will complain about how your, kids forgot to run the dishwasher for that amount of time or whatever, based on a true story called Rose's Life. But
coming soon to the theater near you.
My memoir is
yes
coming out. But it's really true. And my very first job that was kind of the gateway into my current work, I worked at a little holistic shop in Old Town Manassas, and the owner of that shop was very big into law of attraction. And so during that time of my life, there were, objectively speaking, a lot of stressful things going on. It was a hectic time in my life, let us say. So did I have a legitimate complaint sometimes? Sure did. But she would not let me harp on it. She'd be like, you got 120 seconds, Rose, go ahead. And girlfriend would put a timer if she needed to put a timer, you know what I'm saying? But she would let me get it out, which is what we need to do, right? Don't suppress it. Get those emotions out, friends. They're meant to be felt. They're energy and motion. Get it out. And now it's gone. So move forward. Don't stay there.
Yes, I love that, because I talk about the energy and motion a lot. I say emotion is energy and motion. See, now the thing and the reason why quote unquote it becomes a feeling, everybody, is when you don't allow the energy to have motion. If you let it stay stuck, guess what? The energy has no motion. So now you begin to feel a certain way, literally, physically. So the more that you're able to emote and let those things out, let those thoughts out, and maybe let go of that emotion before it becomes a feeling, which can lead to all the other things that we're not probably going to talk about today, because this is just a chit chat. I don't want to get too deep, but it's easier to emote it and let it go than to allow it to become a feeling and then it harbor with you for days, weeks, months, and can lead to many other types of psychological and physical big T's and little T's.
It's going to get trapped there. It will get trapped in your body. The body is your friend. The body is going to store what you did not. You cannot heal what you don't feel. That's what I like to say. So if you didn't let that emotion process out and deal with it, Now it's trapped in the body because the body's going to hold on to it till you're ready to deal with it. And now it's in your body, and then it's going to show up. Like I said, we won't go too far into it, but that's what I deal with a lot. Is that's kind of like where we part ways, right? Because I do a lot of chronic health conditions. I do medical hypnosis. I do pre-surgical. I have very practical ways to use hypnosis. Whereas you're taking those limiting beliefs a lot and putting it into the, how come my business isn't thriving the way I want it to be, right? How come I'm not having those perfect opportunities? So that coaching is important too.
Yeah, I mean, because no matter what, if you're running a business, you are a representation of the business. And it will only go as far as you do. And I know when I first got into the business coaching side, I was like, I don't want to be a life coach. I got my own life to deal with. Forget that. You go to somebody else, you want to deal with your life. But when you're doing this executive coaching and business coaching, and you're coaching an executive, you have to help them move past their blocks so that they can be them best selves, their best selves, not them best selves. Their best selves.
I thought we were being cool. You're like, they gotta be them best selves.
well, that hurt my ear when it came out. I was like, them best selves, Gerald? Them best selves? Okay. Yeah, you know, a lot of times I take poetic license. That was actually just a slip. But
I love it.
But it's important that they are their best selves and show up at work, because they create the culture. They set the pace. So if they aren't their best selves, then everything else starts to suffer. Their ability to create a clear vision, their ability to communicate well, all of it starts to trickle down. So I find myself still doing some quote unquote life coaching, even with doing the business and executive coaching. But I would say my big difference is with where I tell people, I say, look, we don't have 6 months. I don't have 6 months for you to deal with this one thing. We're going to talk about it. We're going to address it. And we're going to dig deep. It might hurt. You might cry. You might not like me for the next week and a half after we're done with this session. However, we will have came face to face with what the root of the issue is, because we have to uproot that so that we can move forward. Otherwise, we can do all this other stuff, talk about all these other things. And if you keep defaulting back to this, which you naturally will, because you're in a stress state and it's a stressful time for you, we won't be any further 6 months from now than where we are today. So get ready, and we're going to put on some sparring gloves, and it's no problem. I have no problem with you disliking me. I've been disliked before.
Wouldn't be my first time.
Exactly. Wouldn't be my first. I'm sure it won't be the last. But you will either love to hate me or you will hate to love me. Either way, you will feel very strongly about it.
There's no in between.
So yes, I know that doing this type of work, and people, a lot of times we don't want to dig deep because it is uncomfortable to visit some of our past decisions, traumas, failures, hardships, and losses, right? No, it's tough to go there. But if we are creating a narrative that is disturbing the life that we say or we really feel that we want, then we have to address it in order to get there. At least I feel.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right about that. So, well, and I'm sure you deal with this too. It's like with your clients, I bet we have another commonality, which is you get a list of what they don't want instead of the list of what we do want in our life.
Lord, that why is that the hardest question in the world to people? You ask just go home, everybody that actually listens to this. The 5 people or 5,000 people that listen to this, go home and literally just ask your significant other, what do you want for dinner?
Don't
If
do
it's not
this.
made, just
This is a
ask.
very dangerous exercise.
Exactly. See, and it's like just dinner, not a hard life decision, right? Not very hard. Just dinner. And most people will say, I don't know, what do you want? Is the automatic response. So yeah, I think this is a great path to go down. But I just wanted to say, yes, people are so quick to tell you what they don't want. Because even after they say, okay, well, just pick something, whatever you want. And your first thing you name, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, no, I don't want that. Wait, you just said whatever I want, but I don't want that.
So, well, but that's right there. This is a great experiment, and I actually hope that people will do it and then like tell us what happens, because
yes, tell us what happens. Just go home and ask your significant other.
I wish I could do it myself, but you know, I'm so recovering perfectionist that of course I already know what we're having for dinner, regardless of if I want it or not. I know it's on the menu. But okay, so here's what happens, right? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? Or lunch or breakfast. It doesn't matter what time of day you're watching this. Well, whatever you want is fine with me. Oh, I want fried chicken. Well, I don't. No, not chicken. Okay, well, so you knew what you didn't want, and that's the part a lot of people do know, right? We know what we didn't want. Like, can we process of elimination that backwards then? Can we connect enough? Okay, if you knew you didn't want chicken and you didn't want seafood and you didn't want, Chinese, well, I definitely don't want this, or this, then you know what you want. Some like backwards. We're gonna work that problem backwards.
Right. Let's reverse engineer this thing. Okay. Just process of elimination. I don't want chicken. I don't want beef. I don't want turkey. Well, sounds like you want veggies.
Could a salad be okay?
Because if you don't want that, I'm not sure what the heck you want. But
wait. I have a real life story that just shows that Gerald and I, we definitely know what we don't want, and we know how to take action. And I won't name names, but let's just say that once upon a time, Gerald and I were meeting for, what might you call it, a late lunch, a snack, an early dinner, whatever you want to call it. And we went into a restaurant where the food did not
yes, where everything that we want is literally not on the menu, because this wasn't about what I don't want. It turned into, okay, what can we actually get? What do you all actually, why are you open? The restaurant literally told us, oh, the oven is off. Wait, what do you mean? Where are you cooking at? The oven is off. It's 2:00. How is the oven off?
So we were seated, but we knew that we were not going to fulfill our desires. And we just straight up left. We just got up and left the restaurant after many attempts to wait on us.
Yes.
Which we politely declined.
And we had some minor assistance with that leaving as well. Foodie tip. I know this is not a foodie show. Foodie tip for everybody, though. If you go into a seafood place and it smells like fish, leave. That is not fresh fish. If it is a seafood place, or if it's sushi, seafood, I don't care. Sushi is seafood, but I just want to be clear. If you walk in there and it smells like fish, you don't want that fish.
You gotta go.
Man, you gotta go. Just exit the building.
And we did. And we left. And we went someplace else. And you know what? it was great. We changed we changed our direction. We didn't dwell on it. We're just like, hey, this is not where we want to be. We gotta go. And we left. And you could do that with any situation in your life. It's really just that simple. If you know, and let me tell you, this man has a strong sense of self. There was no beating around the bush. There was no qualms about it. He did not want to eat in this restaurant. And in fact, we did not eat there. We left and we went to a different restaurant, which was most satisfactory for the most part.
Yes.
So that was just a long segue that I just threw out there for no reason.
And also, but I do want to add, even at the second restaurant, we were searching for certain things because we go to this place all the time. And like, hey, where is X? Our oven is off. I said, what is with everybody in the oven off?
We stopped using our oven.
Yeah, they were like, oh, we haven't turned on the oven in months. I'm like, what? Anyway,
but
so
the point
foodie
is,
tip number one, if if you walk in a place and it smells like seafood and it's a seafood place, if it smells like fish, leave. If it's any type of restaurant you walk in and it smells like fish, leave. I don't care if it's especially if it's not a seafood place and it smells like fish, you should absolutely leave. But secondarily, be aware that some restaurants aren't turning on their ovens. Be aware.
And be aware that if the oven is not turned on, you can still have a great time. Because I know that you have, and I have as well, been out to a meal with human beings who, in those identical situations, would have been miserable for whatever reason. Either we would have stayed at the one restaurant and then complained the whole time, or we go to the second restaurant and we complain the whole time, why is your oven off? Why can't you make this dish that I've had literally thousands of times, and that's the focus of now everything. The purpose of why we're meeting there, to come together, to spend time together, to dine, is now out the window. And now we are just down the rabbit hole of, yes, I'm not getting what I want, now it's a spiral, and it brings the whole energy down. And we're so far apart. Like, again, I can't have what I want, and I don't even know how to get to what I do want. And this is the journey. This is our what's for dinner experiment. I hope this goes viral, because hashtag what's for dinner.
Hashtag what's for dinner.
We should start a dating site. I mean,
hey, look, if anybody gets into a fight about what's for dinner, do not hashtag us. Do not send me your little nasty inboxes about, I went home and it turned into a fight. Believe me, the fight is not about dinner.
Well, that's true. That's very true.
It's not about dinner. So
it's about something now.
Yes.
But it's very true. Yes. That, I mean, it's a beautiful metaphor for insert anything. I don't know what I want. What do you want? I don't know what you want. Just check. Ask yourself. That's what I think is missing from that. Because you say, what's for dinner? And people don't even think. They're like, I don't know. What do you want? Where do you want to go for lunch? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Well, ask yourself first before you ask me. Just check in. What do you want?
I think that goes right back to what you said, that hypnosis thing, the unconscious, because people are so caught up in what they feel is more important, right? And it sounds ironic to say that anything's more important than your own life. But when you're in it, I don't want to have to think about that. Just do something. And this is what leads to so many people having unsatisfying careers, unsatisfying relationships, is because they're just like, I don't want to have to think about it. I don't want to have to think about it. Just do something. And then when it's not what they want, they're like, oh, but I didn't mean that. Well, it's too late. You allowed life to choose for you, and you didn't choose for you. So
Mm,
when life shows up and gives you something to try to say, okay, next time make a decision. That's really what that is, people. Life showing up, giving you what you don't want, so that you will next time have to make the decision since you wouldn't choose anyway. And then when you continue to not choose and to not choose, and then next thing you know, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, you're like, where did I go wrong? It all starts from you not wanting to make certain decisions. And believe me, a lot of people call some of the thoughts that they have decisions. A thought is not a decision. It's just that. It's a thought. Until you've taken an action, there is no decision. So whether that action can be as small as just saying no, like, hey, do you want to go out here? Do you want to go out here Friday? We're going bowling, but you have, or you say you're trying to build out a system or something for work, and you know that if you go bowling, yes, it may be fun, but will you finish your project that you need finished? No. But you go with the flow and just like, "Ah, well, I really shouldn't." And then, oh, come on, man, come on. It won't even take long. And you're persuaded because you wouldn't stand firm. You're letting life choose for you. You're just like, oh, man, I don't want to say no. Like you feel bad for saying no. And I think a lot of times those are some of the situations too. It's not just frustration, but it's that feeling bad about saying no. No will save you more time than anything else in this world.
right.
How much of your time can you get back simply by saying no to what you don't want? Now,
Hmm.
that's a thought for the day. Now, I would love for you to talk to us about that. How much time do you think you can get back
Right. How many? Well, and
just by saying no to things you don't want?
I think
Go ahead, Rose. That's good.
I think you bring up an interesting point, which, I think a lot of us get this idea from a young age, from society, from our parents, from religion, whatever. Um, and I feel like it's connected to, if you think about it, how we're all raised to, which is how most people learn to suppress their emotions, because from the time you're a very little kid, you're told, like, don't cry, don't yell, don't hit your brother, which I agree, it would probably be better if you didn't hit your brother. But we're taught to take all the negative emotions and suppress them. That's how we're raised, right? But we're also taught to we're not allowed to say no a lot of the times, right? Like, I don't know how you were raised, but I know my mom would be like, okay, Lady Jane, like, who do you think you are? You're going to do this and you're going to like it, right? And we carry that habit forward. And now we're like, okay, yes, I can do that. I mean, if you don't want to do it, you feel it. I always loved that, like, t-shirt that says, sorry, I'm late, I didn't want to come. That's
Oh, wow. Now that's
because here's why. It's truth in advertising, right? Because I'm not
yeah,
late. If I'm late, I probably didn't want to be there in the first place, right? To be
right.
early is to be on time, is the way I was raised. So I think that's why those kind of funny things resonate, because people know that um, it's true. It's funny because it's true. So
I thought that you were going to say another one of those things. Like I actually had it's not in this office, it's in my other office. But it just says that poor planning on your part, which was me learning when I started learning to say no to people, because it's not that hard for me now. I'll tell you no in a heartbeat. But it says poor planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. So like people are like, you got to help me. No, I don't.
in fact, you were incorrect about that. I
Very
don't
much
have
so.
to. I would prefer not to. But I think we all do things. Now, sometimes you Do you have to? Now I'm tearing myself up inside even saying it. We choose to. That's what.
Exactly.
Here's another challenge. If since we're throwing out the challenges and the homework assignments completely unplanned, by the way, this was all completely unscripted. I know it's very hard for all of you at home to tell. But if you look at how you speak and you rephrase I have to with I get to, that's going to be very powerful for two reasons. Number one, you're going to think real long about what you have to do, right? I have to. Well, a lot of the times the things we have to do are things we're choosing to do, right? So like, I have to make my kids dinner. I mean, I don't have to. They're not children. They're teenagers. Like, they can make their own dinner. I'm going to ask them what they want. No, I'm just kidding. But I choose to, right? I'm choosing to make dinner, or I get to, because I'm fortunate enough I have this big, beautiful family, and I get to make them dinner. That is something that I get to do because I have the privilege of being the matriarch of that particular family. So just flipping the script a little bit from I have to, like I have to, I don't know, I have to get to work early. Well, do you have to, or are you choosing to get to work early? Do you have to work late, or are you choosing to work late? I'm trying to think of another example, but my brain stopped right there.
but any of those things, like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people always say that stuff. Like, look, I have to be home by 7:00. Do you have to be home? Do you want to be home by 7:00?
Would you prefer to be home by 7:00?
Exactly, because a lot of the things we say we have to do, like, as you said, are really our choices, and we are trying to take the power away from ourselves. And that's really what this reframing is about, is showing you that you have the power to choose. Because when we fall into the default of that subconscious action, 85% of your day, everybody, is on autopilot.
Man, raise that up.
I was about to say that's for the people that call themselves self-aware.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the rule for the magic mumbo jumbonians.
Yes.
The average human being, it's like 99%. And here's how you can tell. Have you gone unconscious? Are you getting out of bed and doing the exact same things in the exact same order? For example, I get up, I go to the bathroom, I brush my teeth, I take a shower. Now I go have my coffee.
Even add getting out of the bed on the same side. Mm-hmm. Even add that, even when you're getting up, right?
Am I checking my phone as soon as I turn my alarm off? Am I drinking my coffee out of the same coffee mug? Am I driving the same way to work that I drive every single day with no variation of the direction I take, even though there's probably, so from my house, there's like at least 4 logical routes that I could take to get out of my house. Are you feeling kind of shitty? if I may be so bold, because if you're waking up and you're in a lower, more negative vibration, energy, mood, then you know that you have gone unconscious, because you would not choose to feel lousy. You would choose to feel great. So if you wouldn't choose it, it's the programming. That's not you. That's the programming. So yeah, you're on autopilot most of the time, most of every day. Most of us are on, I mean, even I am on autopilot a lot, and it's literally my job to work in the subconscious mind.
I was about to say, yes, it is amazing when you can bring your conscious, your attention to what's actually happening around you. And that is what the meditations and all the things that you hear people talk about, and the yoga is just to allow you to be this one word, and we will talk about this on the next one. Present. People hear this word all the time, but most of us are not even present for ourselves, much less anybody else.
I mean, we're just gonna leave it right there because there's nothing else we can say.
So with that being a wrap up, it's been a great opportunity to sit here with you and chat with you all this week. I am the shy guy with the big mouth, Gerald DuBose. If you want to find me in the space we like to call cyber, you can find me on LinkedIn at Gerald DuBose, D-U-B-O, no I am he, D-U-B-O-S-E. Or you can find me on my website at The New Wealth Order, T-H-E, New Wealth Order, not New World Order, newwealthorder.com.
All right, y'all. If you want to hit me up, you can find me everywhere on the internet as Rose Buono Hypnotherapy, B-U-O-N-O. It's on your screen there. And I guess we'll be hanging out some more, doing more magic mumbo jumbo, next time. And let us know how your dinner requests went. We really want to know.
We really want to know how those dinner requests went. Ciao for now.
Bye.